Hello and welcome to Al Jazeera's U.S. Election Weekly. I'm Nick Spicer. It's the final week of campaigning and the candidates are focusing on the battleground states as the world awaits the election of a new U.S. president on the 4th of November. Here now is the very best of Al Jazeera's reporting from the final frenetic week of campaigning.
Ever wonder why the U.S. presidential candidates spend so much time hunting down votes in places like small-town Ohio?
Hello, Virginia!
Or Virginia, Colorado?
Thank you so much, Pennsylvania!
And not in, say, New York City or Los Angeles. It's because the U.S. has a unique and, many believe, uniquely flawed system of electing its presidents.
Popular vote does not really matter. We have something called the Electoral College, which is basically 51 elections where electoral votes are apportioned, with only a couple exceptions, on a plurality winner-take-all basis.
The electoral map looks like this. Each state's electoral votes equal the number of all their representatives in Congress. You need 270 to win. Strongly Republican or Republican-leaning states are shown in red, and solidly Democratic or Democrat-leaning states are shown in blue. The so-called swing states, shown here in yellow, are the ones candidates need to reach 270.
We will win the state of Florida, and
So that's mostly where they campaign.
We've got to win Ohio.
Basically ignoring the rest.
In a close election where we're all have a stake in the outcome, it's really only voters in 10 to 12 states that matter, and the rest of us are just spectators.
Way back in 1789, the framers of the U.S. Constitution were a bit nervous about democracy. They decided to put a buffer between the people and the position of highest power.
Back then, the framers thought that democracy was, in a way, a dirty word. Democracy meant the rule of the mob. The electors were supposed to be better suited and more worldly, able to make decisions in the best interests of the people.
Name, just the top 3 lines.
But because the apportionment of electoral votes doesn't correspond exactly to the state's populations, the system occasionally fails, leading to some profoundly undemocratic outcomes. 4 times in U.S. history, men have become president by winning the Electoral College, even though they lost the popular vote. The last time that happened was in 2000.
I, George Walker Bush, do solemnly swear.
George Bush became president even though Al Gore got 600,000 more votes. Several states are now working together to change the system.
A state, by passing this national popular vote plan, commits itself to saying we're going to give all of our electoral votes to the winner of the national popular vote in all 50 states once it's decisive.
That plan would only take effect when the states agreeing to the idea control a total of at least 270 electoral votes. Till then, Americans are stuck with an 18th century system for their 21st century elections.
Thank you, sir.
Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera.
Dad, can we talk to you for a minute? Dad, don't hurt your baby. We can help you. You don't have to hurt your baby.
The walls around the abortion clinic in Denver, Colorado have not stopped anti-abortion rights activists from reaching out to the patient.
we can get you free help today, Mom.
Can we talk to you?
Jo
Come
Scott
on,
has been campaigning for 30 years.
Let us talk to you just for 5 minutes.
In that time, she says she stopped 3,000 abortions.
When your rights...
Denise DeRoche had an abortion, and now she's an activist.
You'll never forget this day. You'll regret it for the rest of your life.
We are desperately calling out to her to try and reach any soft spot in her that will turn her around and get her back out, make her think about her child, connect her to her child.
Ever since the U.S. Supreme Court legalized abortion in 1973, different groups have tried to reverse that decision. In Colorado, when people go to vote for president, they will also vote yes or no on a change to the state's constitution that would define life as beginning at conception.
Mary, Mother of God.
The consequences of that would be far-reaching. Abortion would be regarded as murder. The initiative is known as Amendment 48, and the person who got the issue on the ballot is a 21-year-old.
It would tell these people the truth that science tells us now. A human being is a human being from the moment of conception. And I think that's absolutely what we should do. Government does represent us, so we should have a say.
Polls suggest that by a narrow majority, most Americans think abortion should be legal.
I think that it's a woman's right to choose if she wants to have an abortion or not.
I don't think anybody else should tell us what we should do with our bodies.
Dr. Hearn has been carrying out abortions for 30 years. He claims anti-abortion activists have tried to murder him.
They have a totalitarian fascist philosophy, and that's why they say, if you're a woman, your body doesn't belong to you. We will decide whether you're pregnant, whether there's a person in there, and what you can do with it and what you can't do with it.
We're fully human, fully alive.
But at election time, the abortion issue is often forced onto the political stage by its opponents.
It is the Sunday service at a Christian church here in Colorado. And while political parties are out in the streets trying to get votes, there is a lot of campaigning going on here as well.
John Davis says the abortion issue is the primary one affecting how he will vote.
Human life and God's inalienable right to life is infinitely more important than any kind of financial crisis or any other issue in the world.
And for voters like John, initiatives such as Amendment 48 are a way to put their concerns directly to the people, a system that the U.S. has used since its founding. Monica Villamizar, Al Jazeera, Colorado.
This is still all part of the plant here.
The view from Tom Bryan's pickup truck in Janesville, Wisconsin is bleak.
Now you go by the parking lots and they got half of them blocked off and the weeds are going through there, and there's still people working now, but the day when everybody does leave, it's gonna be hard to drive by here.
Bryan worked here for 4 decades, making trucks and SUVs for General Motors. A good job with good wages, enough to raise a family and live well.
Back in those days, it was kind of the American dream to be able to work for a corporation like General Motors.
But that was then. Now, General Motors sales are plummeting, and the Janesville plant is going to be shut down in December, just 2 days before Christmas. Tom is near retirement, so he figures he'll be okay.
Good job, Adam.
But his 40-year-old son, Todd, works at GM too, and the shutdown announcement hit him hard.
For sure, people were shocked. People were extremely sad. I think some people were mad, but the people that I saw were probably more sad and scared than anything.
Married with 5-year-old twin boys, Todd's worried about keeping his home and making ends meet.
Like the middle-class manufacturing, working family type jobs are under attack or becoming, rare or extinct. It's almost like a race to the bottom type of thing.
It's a concept at the heart of the American dream, that if you work hard and play by the rules, you'll have a comfortable life, and that your sons and daughters will do even better than you did. But now that dream is dying. In the past 8 years, manufacturing jobs, the kind of good-paying work that built the American middle class, have declined by 3,820,000, or 22%. In the same time period, average hourly wages adjusted for inflation have stagnated, while many companies have cut back on medical coverage, paid time off, and pension benefits. Union membership has fallen too. Author Tamara Drought says younger workers today make less than their counterparts a generation ago.
If you look at polls now, for the first time in really modern history, the majority of Americans don't think the next generation will be better off. They don't think their kids will be better off.
Todd Bryan believes his boys Tyler and Adam will grow up in a harsher world.
My concerns are that they won't be able to have a comfortable lifestyle to be able to take care of their children and, give them the benefits that I had when I was a child. Absolutely, it's a huge worry for me.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
With their toys, Todd's sons play at building trucks, like their father and grandfather before them.
Hey, Grandpa, look what I did.
3 generations in a family that helped build America, now facing an uncertain future. Rob Reynolds, Al Jazeera, Janesville, Wisconsin.
For an insight into how the US election contest is spreading out from traditional battleground states, you only need to drive up into the hills of West Virginia. This is Marion County. The coal industry here is what used to make this region of West Virginia great. But abandoned factories like these now litter the landscape. They're a symbol of how hard times have become for a state that's now one of America's poorest, and which was thought would be a shoo-in for John McCain. Residents here say coal mining is still pretty much the only industry around in this part of West Virginia, and these towns that have thrived off it are generally considered to be John McCain's territory. But Barack Obama's campaign is trying to change that. The Obama campaign has been spending money on a state that just months ago wasn't even on its radar as a viable contest. Here in the appropriately named Barackville, Bill Tomaschek explains why he won't be going for John McCain.
I'm in that middle class. I'm not no high roller. And I just don't believe in a lot of the issues that McCain's got, and I'm sorry, I just don't.
Mr. Tomaschek said other people in his area also felt the same way.
A lot of them I talked to, they don't believe Obama's going to make a big mess out of this thing. That's why Biden's in there, and I think that's why Colin Powell endorsed him too.
Noises from the Obama campaign suggest that while they hold out little hope of actually winning West Virginia, if they can make McCain spend money where he wasn't expecting to, reducing his war chest in other places, that in itself would be an important mission accomplished. Sebastian Walker, Al Jazeera, in Marion County, West Virginia.
This is one of the most exclusive boutiques for men in the world. It's a Beverly Hills institution, and it's owned by an Iranian American.
Welcome to Beverly Hills.
Iranians started settling in right after the Islamic Revolution, giving Los Angeles its famous nickname, Tehrangeles, LA, but with a Tehran twist. They tend to be wealthy, entrepreneurial, and backers of the party that promises to stay out of their way as they go on with their business.
The Republican Party here in California has always had a strong base among Iranians. But in this election, some of its staunchest supporters are showing signs of dissent.
This is a Christmas card that I received from President Bush.
Amir Sardari is a successful Iranian-American businessman and a long-time Republican loyalist.
The threatening of the attacks does not, by any stretch of imagination, help U.S. It doesn't help the Iranians in achieving their democracy. And McCain, so far, actually has sounded worse than President Bush.
Amir will break ranks with his party for the first time ever. He's voting for Obama. But he's not the only disappointed one. Other, more right-wing Iranians are equally as unhappy. And they broadcast their sentiments through radio and television stations, like LA-based Pars TV. They expected the Bush administration's rhetoric to be matched by its actions.
The American government tried to support the Iranian people for democracy in Iran. And this is our goal too, especially, when the Bush comes. Always says, we support Iranian people, we support Iranian people, we support... Nothing happened.
The direction that the next administration will take on Iran is yet to be determined. But one thing is for sure. The Republican Party may have already lost some of its most loyal supporters among Iranian Americans here in LA. Zaina Awad, Al Jazeera, California.
We hope you enjoyed our look at the election this week, and don't forget you can get more news and analysis from the campaign trail at www.aljazeera.net/English.